In part one, I told you why these projects fail. And part two gives you the playbook for making sure that your project doesn't fail. There's 3 chapters, 3 critical capabilities: structural control, phase 0 mastery, and accelerated requirements. If part one was the diagnosis, part two is the treatment plan. And it starts with something most organizations get wrong. Who controls the project? So the 4 pillars of project sovereignty covers pure alignment, the first one, what I call the bulldog principle. Your advisor's financial interests must be purely and permanently aligned with yours. No vendor partnerships, no implementation revenue, no referral fees, period. Second is unbiased support, the expert witness principle. Think of it like an expert witness in court. They're qualified to testify because they have no stake in the outcome. Your technology advisor should operate in the same way. Third is government expertise. Context. Government isn't just a slower version of the private sector. Fund accounting, compliance requirements, elected oversight, public records laws, these aren't complications. They're the operating system. They're the operating environment. And then there's continuity. The same advisory team from requirements through go live and beyond. Not a revolving door of junior consultants billing at senior rates, which is what happens in most implementations. These 4 pillars aren't nice to haves. They're the structural foundation that separates organizations that control their implementations from organizations that get controlled by them. So let's talk about phase 0 mastery. What is phase 0? The pre-implementation preparation period where you define what success looks like, document how your organization actually works, build internal capability, create the governance structures that will protect you during implementation. And you can do it one or 2 ways. Do it yourself or get independent oversight. Some organizations can do phase 0 internally. Others need independent help to accelerate. And the book gives you the frameworks for both approaches. And why does this matter? Port of Portland, for example, invested in phase 0 proactively. The result was that they entered procurement with such clarity and leverage that vendor proposals were genuinely competitive. Cook County, Illinois, on the other hand, skipped phase 0. They're hundreds of millions of dollars over budget and counting. Phase 0 is where you build the leverage that determines every negotiation, every scope decision, every change order for the next 5 to 10 years. Skip it, and you're negotiating from weakness for the life of the project and beyond. Part 2 also talks about accelerated requirements that are AI-enabled but human-centric. AI can process thousands of requirements in hours, identify conflicts, map dependencies, flag gaps. But the validation, the prioritization, the organizational judgment, that's human work. And then there's the innovation governance gap. The distance between what AI makes possible and what your organization's governance is prepared to manage. Close this gap before implementation, not during. Traditional requirements gathering takes months of workshops, but now AI-accelerated approaches can compress this dramatically if you know how to use them without losing the human judgment that makes requirements meaningful. AI doesn't replace the need for human judgment in requirements. It amplifies it, if you set it up right. So part 2 of the book is the most practical section of the book. It's where frameworks become action plans. And part 3 will take you into procurement and vendor selection. That's where the money gets committed and the real leverage game begins.